yeah, we could just get started. And I hope everyone's doing well tonight. Let me see if I can share my screen. And where are we? Okay. Can everyone see the screen? Michael, are you there? Can you see the screen?
Yes, I most certainly can.
Okay, perfect.
I see a smiling face and most certainly going to learn today.
Okay, wonderful. So again, my name is Chrissy Gaines, and I am presenting to you today about probate niche area and how you can make money in this market. It is a sensitive area, as Michael said, and we want to make sure that we go into it handling it with sensitivity, but still knowing how to conduct the business. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. So a little bit about myself. I am a licensed and certified probate real estate specialist. My background, I'm originally a educator, 14 years teaching public and private school. And I have 3 years so far in real estate investing, which can go from the wholesaling to BRRRRs to just learning about that area, and 2 years with Exit on the Harbor Realty out in Parkville, Maryland. So my specializations right now are short sale specialist and the probate real estate market. All right, so what is actually a probate expert? First of all, an expert, by the way, is literally just a person who has comprehensive and authoritative knowledge of a skill in a particular area. And why am I telling you this? Because just like me, who had to go through and get a certification for this market area, that doesn't mean that you necessarily have to have the degree to become an expert. You can have some expertise, or you can just read up on the probate area. And as an investor, when you're approaching clientele, potential sellers about this area and about trying to help them out in probate, if you get yourself the knowledge, not just from this webinar today, but going forward, learning more about the probate world, the technical terms, the timelines, things like that, you now have become technically an expert in knowing how to give that knowledge to the seller and empower them. So I hope everyone can come away from this webinar with some sort of now expertise and knowing how to present that to the potential client. All right, just some things I wanted to, let me see, how can I move this? Okay, the American Bar Association defines probate as the formal legal process, right, that gives recognition to a will and appoints a person to administer and distribute the assets, including property, to the intended beneficiaries. So when someone passes away, and this is the sensitive topic, and I hope, and I'm going to treat this with kid gloves as well. When someone passes away, if they have a will, that does not mean that they don't go through the probate process. It just means that those beneficiaries, those heirs, can now legally get that property, right? And it will be transferred over to them. So usually the court appoints an administrator and executor to the estate, and they will help to distribute those funds. So people who inherit properties due to a death in the family or other personal reasons. Now, probate is not just about when someone dies. Probate can happen when a person becomes incapacitated or can no longer take care of themselves. For example, someone who may be about 90 years old and they have to go live in a senior home. Their family can no longer take care of them. Their estate can go through a probate process because they have to liquidate that estate in order to have funds to care for that person and put that money aside into the senior homes or nursing care. And that can go through probate as well. It can go through probate with a death in the family, and then you have young children who are the heirs. And of course, they have to have a guardian. So there's many different types of how the probate process can work. In some cases, they aren't equipped to maintain the property. People want to live out of state. It's unwanted probate properties that are great opportunities for investors, right? So we always talk about as investors, or that you want to have those motivated sellers, right? Motivated sellers are key in this business. You don't want to have to force someone to sell their property. So with that, this area, this specialized niche area, unfortunately, there's always someone who dies. Always. So this market is here to stay, right? Regardless of what has been happening, we know what just recently happened with COVID, and how, we had to take a shift in order to keep the real estate market moving. But with the probate process, there's always, unfortunately, death is just a natural occurrence. And so this market, of course, is here to stay. And so with that, you want to...
And Chrissy, you're providing a solution for an illiquid asset that can create so much more possibility. So the positive side of that is you're creating a solution that they may not have. It's just stressed, it's dilapidated, and you can move quickly as an investor and a cash buyer. So you're that positive output for a negative situation. Not to interrupt you, my apologies.
No, please, by all means. And if anyone else has questions during this, I don't know how, Mike, you want to handle that, but we can definitely answer questions here and there. And, but yeah, definitely jump on in. So knowing how long it takes to handle this probate process is definitely important, and it's key, and it's paramount to your business, right? You want to make sure that you approach people in the time frame that you can actually help them, because there are certain points in the probate process where everything has to come to a standstill until things are set in order by the courts, and we're going to go through that in just a little bit.
Gotcha.
All right, so like I just said, there's 4 different markets for probate. And market number 1, and when I say market, it's when you should really approach the seller, the potential client. These markets are when you should actually approach those sellers. So market number 1 would be when an administrator goes and petitions for the probate. And they have no legal powers yet, but that paperwork has been put in to say this person has in fact died, has passed away. And so you want to be able to get to them before they even get into the probate process sometimes. Market number 2 is when there's orders, right? When those orders have been set to say an administrator has been approved by the court. That person now has the power and authority to actually execute that estate and sell property. Now that you know who that PR, the personal representative or administrator is, you now can go to that person and approach them for the listing or for the investment property. Market has come into play. Market number 4 is when you have full documentation, but they haven't taken action yet. So meaning they haven't put their property on the market. They let everything sit there. And so you want to go into that market as well. And I'm going to show you what this probate timeline looks like. And I'm hoping you can see my screen.
No, that's a great point, because you don't want to send something a week after it hits the legal notices or something of that nature. And you don't want to be seen as a piranha, in the pond,
Right, exactly. Because, there's a lot of people who will come, and that brings me to a very good point, Michael. I'm glad you stopped me for a moment. When I say that this is a sensitive area, you want to approach the seller, the potential client, from a place of how you can help. We're so used to, I don't know who's a real estate agent and who's an investor on the line, but I'll talk to the investors right now. Investors are so used to, well, this is my number, this is what I can work with, this is what I can offer you, this is how my numbers work. I, my. When you're in this particular niche area, you have to shift the focus. It is expressly paramount that you shift the focus. Okay, yes, we understand that the numbers are what they are, but you want to offer help, offer value. And the way that you do that is down to the minute words that you use, such as, sir, I know you're in a position right now where you need to sell the home. How can I help you do that? Mm-hmm. Right? Then it also can be, well, I understand that you have this amount of debt. How can I help you relieve that burden that is on you right now? Are you looking to sell the property? Okay, let me see what I can do to help, to assist. Right? So certain words are triggers, and it turns a person's mind from being negative to you to being a little bit more open to hearing what you have to say. Right? So that just clears the air.
I had one investor that we were in a class together on probates, and she mentioned that the client that was selling didn't even want to walk in the house because the emotional connection of bad memories or things associated with it was just too much. So you never know what a trigger is going to be. And I think you're right. We as investors come in, we want to, it's all about the numbers. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. But here you have to segment a lot of different things in. And I think appropriately doing that is
right.
really a wise choice.
Right. So here we have the probate timeline. And as you can see, it ranges from 1 to 2 months starting when you prepare and file petition. And here is how long it may take. From 9 months all the way through 18 months. This is a long process, guys, for these people who have just lost a loved one, who are dealing with a lot of debt that they may have been left on their shoulders, whether or not just a house, but maybe back taxes, vehicles, other things, and now a whole house that they have to clean out as well. So now you have an estate sale that might have to happen as well with the private property. So I just wanted to show you what this timeline looks like, and just so you can see what you're looking at when you get into this niche market area. It is an area of patience. Right? It's not 1, 2, 3 popcorn, I'll make an offer and we can close in 14 days. Nuh-uh. This is not that market. But if you are in the business of helping people and in it for the long run, this can be a very profitable market for you. Let's see. I'm going to go back to the presentation. Are you guys there with me? Mm-hmm. Good? Okay, perfect. All right, so with the probate process comes executor's responsibilities, right? And so with the executor responsibilities, as you can see in this guy right here, he has a ball on his foot, he has the house on his back, money's just flying everywhere, right? Because they now have to possibly pay bills to keep this house even in good standing for the moment. They have to worry about, well, what's this doing to my life? I have this over here that I have to deal with my regular everyday issues. And now I have this new burden that I have to take care of. And guys, how much we always talk about, oh, I don't have time, right? And now you have a whole nother monkey on your back. So it can be very stressful. And then a lot of people have no knowledge of what to do. They're lost. So a lot of times they will, number one, Google for a probate attorney because they just don't know. And they might have been told, hey, you need to have an attorney to help you out on the estate. Others are like, they're a little bit more savvy. Okay, I'll try to do it on my own. I've read about it. I've YouTubed university, and I think I can do this. However, they don't know how extensive their duties are. And I'm going to show you on this this document here what those duties are. Just look at this. Just look at this.
And imagine if you make an error on top of that, right, through the flow chart.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it just stops it stalls the whole process when you make mistakes, right? Mm-hmm. And then what happens is that you're spending money along the way, and now if you get someone who knows what they have to do, it's a little bit more of a relief, right? It may cost you something in the beginning, but the relief is there. It's less stressful, right? And a lot of people are willing to do this because they don't have time and they don't want to make the mistake and have it drag out even longer, right? So just to give you an idea of what this looks like for a person who has no knowledge, just looking at this right here, I think I would be overwhelmed just knowing that. Now, why also am I showing you these two documents? I can make it available for people afterwards if they want to email me or anything. I can just shoot them a quick email with both of those documents. This can help you when you approach a potential client. You can then go to them with some marketing material and knowing how to help. How does this help your potential seller? You're showing them all the responsibilities that they will have coming up if they don't enlist your help, right? And you're going to see all of the timeline that it's going to take, right? And so now you can go armed with a little bit of information and say, here's where I can fit in. And you can show them, I fit in right here. I can help you before this even has to go all the way down the line. Once you get your letters of administration, just come right to me. I'm going to help you right at that moment. And we can get this sold because you're now the one who can execute on that estate, right? So you can pinpoint where a person is in this process and use it to your advantage, and also give them that information as a tool to help them. Because if they still want to do it on their own, they're still going to remember you and say, you gave them information that helped make the process just a little bit easier.
So would it be okay, Chrissy, if they put their email in the chat that we can email that to them afterwards?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. All right. I'll put mine first, you know,
Okay.
and we'll get that to you guys.
Awesome. So before I continue any further, I want to talk about the leads that you would get with probate, right? And I want to make sure I'm not jumping ahead of myself. Oh, okay. I didn't. So how can probate leads become profitable? Okay, because everyone wants to make money, right? The potential client wants to make money. You as the investor or the agent who may potentially list the property want to make money. And so how can probate leads become profitable? Number one, you have a growing inventory. I did mention this before, you know, this market is here to stay. It is inevitable. Everyone does have to, you know, unfortunately have that day come, right? And so we want to make sure that we're there to help in the meantime. Highly motivated sellers. A lot of people don't need the extra house. It might be a burden because it's underwater already, or there's so much taxes involved with having another property. There's huge profits for every style of investor, right? You can turn around and take that property and rent it out and have cash flow income. You can turn it around and flip it and then sell it on the open market for retail value, right? And there's always a supply. So the market, you know, is there for every style of investor. And let me make sure I'm not missing anything on that. Nope, we're good. All right, so where do you find probate leads? Well, you can go to the local courthouse and you can ask the lovely clerk that's there in a nice way, because you and that clerk will be wonderful friends if you continue to go back. And the way that you approach in the first time is going to set the tone, because I'm guaranteeing you that clerk is there every single day that that courthouse is open. And if you are not nice to her or him, you're not getting much of anything out of them. Okay. You can go online. You could just Google, you know, the probate courthouse in your county. Depending on where you are, some counties ask that you register to get the list. And a lot of times they want the list, the register to be either an attorney, an administrator, or a real estate agent. So you have to be careful of which county does what. I believe here in Maryland, it is open. So you should be able to just Google the county probate courthouses. And I've done a few of them, so they have been open so far. Newspaper. You can look at classified ads, because a lot of times you'll see estate sales. And that doesn't really mean that the house is for sale, but you know, the other side of probate is knowing how to pick out that art piece that they're just trying to get rid of for $10. And it can literally be a Picasso sitting right there. They don't want it. These old like china dishes and these old heavy oak desks and things like that, like, you know what value you might be able to get out of it. It could be very lucrative for an investor to go in there and look on that side of the estate sale as well before even the house gets sold. Now, here's where it gets sensitive. Checking obituaries. No. I'm personally going to say no, because you're looking like you are a vulture at that point. They just put an ad in the paper, people, to acknowledge the death of their loved one. They don't want to be solicited with calls right away to say, hey, can I buy your house at this value that's way below, because I just want to get my numbers out. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. We want to lead from here. And so checking obituaries, it's very sensitive. I wouldn't recommend it at all. I would wait a little bit. You can use the obituaries to mark a date off and then, like, annotate and say, call in about 30 days. Give them a month. Imagine what you would feel like in that situation, right? Always try to put yourself in the potential client's shoes, because again, it all revolves back around to sensitivity and care. A lot of what, we complain that the world has gotten away from. So let's try to, at least put some of that back in, especially in this area. And of course, you can contact a real estate agent or Mike. Raise your hand.
Yeah, we're
right?
realtors, yes.
That's it. You can contact real estate brokerages and realtors who specialize in those areas, because we will then have inventory.
And Chrissy, what area are you, what do you service? My dad was saying up in Columbia too, so if we have referrals, we can send your way too?
Absolutely. So I'm Columbia, Baltimore County, Baltimore City, surrounding areas, Howard County, some in PG County, but usually closer up toward Columbia.
Okay, awesome. So if we have anything going that way too, because sometimes your state can have a bundle package or things of that nature,
Exactly. And then I can reciprocate as well. So any agents also want to collaborate, drop your info, and Mike and I will definitely reach out to you. So this is about what you can offer. Oh, I'm sorry. I did forget one thing. Making friends with lawyers, probate lawyers, right? Make friends with lawyers who deal with real estate. Short sales attorneys, probate attorneys, make friends with them, because if they know what area you're in and something comes across their desk, they're going to reach out to you because they want to get that deal done too, because they get paid at the end of it all. So they want to get it done. They're going to reach out to those who have kept that line of communication open.
And what's even better is they're listed on the file at the courthouse, and you'll see their name over and over and over again, right?
Exactly.
So you can build that rapport, you know?
So it's not just them, you have the personal representative, their information is right there as well. So all the skip tracing that we would have to do, you don't have to worry about that. You go to the court, you go to the file, you ask for, such and such case number. You can look online and you click into the case, and it has all the information there for you. If not a phone number, an address. If not an address, a phone number, some way of contact, whether the PR or the attorney. So yeah, great point. Absolutely. Because you don't have to, go digging around. It's right there for you. So remember, again, this is about how you can help, right? Excuse me.
And I think that's a great point. That's the whole process. What value are you adding to them? The solution you provide as well.
Yep. And so it's about what you can offer. Again, don't make the conversation about you. For example, you want to be compassionate. Deal with them as you would want someone dealing with your mother, your father, your sister, even with you. Mm-hmm. How would you want to be handled? Would you want someone coming at you directly saying, I just want to buy your house. I know you went through a death in the family. Like, yeah, we know this, but I don't need you to say that to me I don't need you to acknowledge that I just went through a rough time. Oh, all this, I'm so sorry for your loss. What are you sorry for? You didn't do it, right? It's my condolences. Leave it at that, and then move on and say, I just want to offer my help to see if you need any assistance with the estate and how you want to handle it. Do you want to sell the house? If so, how can I help you? What area can I help you in? Do you need to list it? Do you need to market it? Are you looking to sell it for this value? Is there a mortgage attached? Just start talking about how you can help. Again, revise your lingo and make sure it's about how you offer help through the process. Remember, as I think Mike said, we get paid to solve problems, right? We get paid to solve problems. So if we can't solve the problem, do we get paid? No, there's no money in our pocket. If we can't solve the problem, we don't have anything to show for it. So we get paid to solve problems, and make that your new mindset when you are reaching out to people. And it can even go beyond probate. As an investor, once I started learning how to revise my lingo with this area, I found myself doing it with all other areas of the investment too, whether it was, reaching out to just any person to see if I can get a vacant property, an absentee owner. It's still now a matter of changing my tone, my tonality, and how I approach. And I find that it makes the conversation go a lot easier.
And you probably have a better productivity rate too.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing what, a change in wording can do. Mm-hmm. So you definitely want to be strategic. It does take time to process. Probates, again, can be pretty lengthy because we have already seen the timeline that happens. And basically, you don't want to rush a person. You want to let them take their time, make the informed decision. It can also be even lengthier if a person does not leave a will. So that means they're dying intestate. They have no will. So now the court has to actually sift it out, right? And so you want to make sure that all those things are set in motion. The property is sold as is. There's no contingencies. It's as is, because the person who is selling it has no knowledge of anything to do with that property. Even if they had lived there for 30 years, they're not on the deed. So technically they don't know, right? They don't know of anything to do with the property, other than the fact that they might have lived there. But that's where you, as the investor or as the agent, can now list the property appropriately, or to come in at a number that might make sense, and for you and for them. Sometimes you might be acquiring debt. Okay, so, and it might not even be in your ideal location. So you have to know where you want to be, right? If you don't want to be in Baltimore City, do not call people who have properties in Baltimore City, right? If you don't want to be in PG County, don't call people in PG County.
Oh, but Chrissy, they can, and then they can wholesale them to you, right?
They can, absolutely.
Or they can stay out so you have more opportunity. It's okay, either way.
Great point. Absolutely. What was I thinking? What was it? Call them all. Just make sure that you call them properly, because see, what happens is that even if you refer them out to Mike or to myself, we're coming behind the reputation that you just put in front of us. Mm-hmm. If you are leading with vulture attitude, they're going to think the same of us or any person that you refer them to, because that's the picture they have in their mind. Oh, association, assimilation. Same people, birds of a feather flock together. So if you lead with compassion and a heart for how can I help, they're going to view us the same way even before we get on the phone. Okay, so always keep that in mind, especially when you're referring out, how you are presenting yourself, because it does have a trickle down effect.
Mm-hmm. Very true words. And that's all aspects of business, not just probate, the tone that you set, you
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. Absolutely. So, why work with us? Why work with me as a real estate agent who also has some investing background? Why work with Mike? Why work with any real estate agent, right? But right now we're going to talk about Mike and I.
Well, what do you say? We're going to work with you because you're the best. You're knowledgeable. You have the expertise. That's why we want to work with you.
Exactly, exactly. So I have taken the courses, right? And I am continually educating myself on this area because I don't know everything. Nobody truly knows anything unless they wrote the book on it and has gone through every single problematic issue that could ever arise, right? No one is completely here, right? So I'm still constantly learning as well. And I hope that as you go through your personal businesses, that you're constantly keeping on top of what's new, what's fresh in your market, and how to better yourself in that as well, and how to put your best foot forward. So even though I do have the expertise, just know that I'm also staying educated on it as well, right? I'm doing the heavy lifting for you. So I know about that whole process, right? I know when you can jump in. If you had a probate lead and you came to me and said, I don't know what to do, this looks like a pretty good deal, but I don't know what I can do, I would then assist you with that. And knowing where you can jump in at, you can pass it over to me. I can reach out to them and I can make sure that the connection stays secure. Inventory. We definitely will have inventory in our offices, in our brokerages, right? Access to properties before it even hits the open market. So me being a probate specialist, I actually am on a specialized list of contacts for attorneys, for personal representatives, courthouse. They have a specialized list that they have for people who have subscribed after they receive their certification, and we are listed as probate specialists in the area. If someone Googles right now and says probate specialist in my area, a few people will show up. A few people will show up. Aside from just saying real estate agent, they're going to say probate real estate agent in my area. And then specialized people will show up. And then we, of course, get those properties before it hits the open market. So networking, not just connected to realtors, but I also have a vast network of lenders, banks, attorneys, investors, and it continues to grow as I go to networking events, meeting people such as yourselves. It's just a constant communication and growing of the network. And what I couldn't put literally on words in the webinar, but I'm going to say it out loud. There are ways that even if the deal didn't work for you as an investor, that you can be an marketer, affiliate marketer, and get incentives to bring the deal to us. And if that deal closes, then we would have you on our marketing budget and give you a little something on the back end, right? So there's always ways for you to make money in this area, even if the deal does not work out for you. So you should always be referring, because you never know if you get some mailbox money, right? So.
And we love mailbox money, it comes to you directly.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I am not a person who does a whole lot of talking. So I'm actually at the end of my presentation with this, and this is all of my information here on how you can get in touch with me, from my email to my social media to my office and cell number. Again, I work out of Exit on the Harbor in Parkville, Maryland, and I would definitely love to partner with you guys. If you have any questions about probates that come across your way, please feel free to reach out to me. I am always available. I have this trusty device next to me at all times. Of course, it's the way of the world now. We have this thing pinned to our hip. And so I'll be able to answer your calls and your questions.
Well, I've got one, Chrissy. You seem very positive and a great mindset. How do you stay so positive in what could be a negative atmosphere? How do you keep striving towards that? Because that seems like a great quality through this, one funnel of an opportunity.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it starts again with your heart, right? It starts with your heart. If you have a heart of care for someone, and then you also put yourself in that person's shoes, right? And try to feel, what would you feel like? How would you want to be approached? My mindset has become one of leading with love, leading with care, because it is a sensitive time.
Yes.
So I do make sure that I infuse, and I keep I try to find different personal development not a podcast, but like webinars or books that I can read that will help change and shift the way that I talk when I get on the phone with potential clients, because you never want to slip up and say something that might be offensive, right? And crass or crude, or like, you know, just not good to say, to, for lack of a
I
better
don't see that ever happening out of you, Chrissy. I don't, but I could see how that could happen. Like it does. What you don't know the trigger.
You'd be surprised. Like before you get the training, you get on the phone and you talk like the way you normally would talk on the outside to just a regular person, right? And then you find yourself going, man, I shouldn't have said that. When you hang up the phone, you're like, man, if I should have said this, I should have wrote that down and taken notes and then read it off of the script. And this is why we also have scripts too, because now you're like, okay, I don't have to think about what I'm going to say off script, right? And off topic. But as you begin to feel more comfortable, you also want to make sure you infuse certain things into the way you talk. So I also try when I'm on the phone to smile. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, so when you smile, it comes across in your voice, right? Not like overly like, hi, I'm here to help you today. But, you know, it does come across with, hi, how are you? You know, the softness is soften up your voice when you're talking to those type of people on the phone, because it carries a long way. Before they even see the visual, they need to hear your voice and hear the care. And people will pick up on it and they'll know if you're being fake or not.
That's very
being fake. So, you know, the whole mindset is so key. I do listen to I know Exit has this phenomenal mindset coach. I call him a mindset coach, but he's just great all the way around. His name is Rick O'Neill, and he is just so positive in how he communicates. And I really do enjoy listening to his webinars, because he does just remind you of how to be a human being. Like, right? Like, who would think that you would have to train someone or teach someone how to be a human being? But because we've become so selfish, it's hard to become selfless.
That's very true.
Right? And so now we have to change that. And we have to do that on a daily basis. You know, it takes 21 days to create a good habit, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, you want to make sure that you do that at all times, and continue it. Make it a constant daily effort to do that and to reach that goal.
And there's only one thing we can control. My father, if he was here, he would say it again and again. It's our attitude, right? And it's whether we choose to have that positivity or we can choose to be negative in that cycle. But I really wanted to stress that mindset is very important throughout this. And you seem to have a very positive mindset. So thank you for sharing that. We'll open it up to everybody too. Does anybody have any questions? You guys can unmute to ask. I know this is a lot of material as well. We will get you, I've gotten a chat, everyone's email. I'm going to save it before the end of this, and I will get that to Chrissy, so we can get that sheet for an item of value as well. Any questions, guys and ladies?
I don't have any questions, but Chrissy, this was wonderful information. Thank you.
It was.
Thank you, Liza. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Has anybody in the audience dealt with probate before?
Not yet.
So,
Not me.
not yet. Okay, so I will give you guys an example real quick. And it's a client, it's a potential client I'm actually talking to. I had reached out to her, and she's about 81 now. Her husband actually passed away about 7, 8 years ago. They did go through the probate process because it had to make sure that all the property transferred over to her, to the wife. So now she's in the position of wanting to sell a property, but she said that she has dealt with so many realtors over the course of a few years, and you can look into her MLS history and see that she has had so many times where she's listed with a realtor, they've adjusted the price so much, and then they withdrew the listing. And she was so frustrated, but she talked to me for about a good hour and a half about how realtors had approached her with only the intent of selling it because they knew that they were going to get a great commission. And there was so much apparent history with this house. And me, I actually have a degree in history as my bachelor's. So I was actually intrigued, and I was like, sure, well, why don't you tell me? Because actually, if history is part of this property, then that's something we can market,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like, especially if you're in a historical district. So you want to play on that aspect of the property and put that forward. And she was just so grateful to be able to talk for about an hour and change. And sometimes you do have to take the time. Because she was older, I made sure to take the time for her. She's 81. And she just sounded like she had so much on her heart to just get off because she was frustrated. And I helped her with, and she was actually a for sale by owner. And I actually had to help her tell her that, hey, your listing doesn't look right. You know, I'm adding value right off from the start, right? Your listing doesn't look right. How can I help you? I know you want to list. I know you want to, you want to sell, but you're not going to sell it for this amount of money when all you have is you have a beautiful drone picture of this property, and it shows the beautiful nature of this property. But you're not showing any of the interior of the house. It looks like it still needs renovation. Like, I don't know what the intent is. And I actually called her thinking that the person who had it on there to sell was scamming her. I was like, you'd be wanting to sell this and the property looks like this, and you have 4 pictures and you're asking for like $1 million plus. Like, there's no way. There's no way. And so I had the conversation with her, and she said, I thank you because you've given me so much information. I have to fix this. I have to fix this. And she said, you've given me so much information, so much value so far. She said, you know what? What is your information? I'm going to follow up with you next week. I said, well, okay, here you are. And I said, let's make a date of it, and I let her know I was going to be calling her this Friday just to check up on her and see how things are going. And, so not everything is an immediate, oh, I'm going to sell with you. I'm going to list with you. But sometimes you have to put in the grunt work. You have to put in the time, the effort, the care. And even if it doesn't pay off for me, to get the listing, I still feel good that I helped an 81-year-old who's trying to go through this and sell a property. And at the end of the day, she'll remember me, and I'm actually going to remember her, for the conversation that we had. So that's just a little tidbit of, not everything is popcorn like that. Not everyone's going to say yes to you right away, but be willing to stick it in there and follow up, because the gold is in the follow-up. Honestly, a lot of people give up the first, second, third call, and I think, 6 to 7 touches it takes to actually convert a lot of people into either selling or listing. So you just
want to upped it to closer to 12 to 14 now, just due to micro touches and attention spans, and just these 30-second intervals is all we got. So it's definitely increased, but you're 100% correct. It's in the follow-up.
Yeah. So guys, just take heart. This is one of those niche areas where not many people are involved with, because it does take a long time. And many people are in that popcorn mentality, and they want things now, 14 days, 30 days. But if you can hold in there and fill your pipeline with that, you're gonna have a steady stream.
No, totally agree on that, and 100% correct. It's in the follow-up and residual follow-up too. Not just the one time and then we click and it's done. It's got to be a part of our habits and routine. Nope, totally Totally agree. Does
And
anybody, go ahead, Chrissy.
I will suggest that even in this market, if that person does list with you or that person does sell the property to you as an investor, don't let the transaction stop there. Send them a follow-up card, a thank you note, quick little postcard thank you note. Thank you for the opportunity to serve you during that time. I appreciate your business. If there's anything that I can do for you, please don't hesitate to reach out, and please refer me if you feel like my business has helped you. And something just as simple as that, and you drop a note, they're probably going to tack that to their refrigerator.
No, 100% agree. Does anybody in the audience, do you guys have any questions for Chrissy? This was a lot of good information, and we are very grateful that you took your time and explained it to us. I will get over the emails afterwards for the one sheet. That is I've never seen something that detailed for probates, and it just is mind-blowing that it's all a part of it, you know? And if there's anything we can do to assist you as well, please let us know, because we're a community of help, and I think that's what tonight was established as well.
Thank you very much.
And does anybody have any last questions? But open up the forum. No, well, that's a great webinar where not one question it needs to be asked. That means you answered everything.
Everybody. Thank you to everybody who has jumped on and participated in this webinar. It's my pleasure to bring this information to you and to make those connections. And I will definitely get the information out to every one of you who have put your emails in.
Well, most certainly. And the big man did ask me to just plug for next month to pre-register. We're going to have a market update with Connie, who is my mother as well as broker of Remax Closers. And so we're going to have a realtor's perspective of the changing market. And then we're going to have Mr. Tim Murphy, who's on the call as well, give us the lender's perspective. And we will go from there. I truly appreciate everybody coming here. Sorry about the delay. Sorry about me hosting. Hopefully you dealt with me okay accordingly. But normally that's the big man's parameter, but hopefully I filled in enough for him. All right. But thank you so much, Chrissy. And make sure everybody friends her as well on Facebook. We like her page. That's the spirit of contribution of all of our content as well. So thank you so much, and everybody have a great evening.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, guys.